Have you ever wondered how much plastic is in the ocean? An experienced product manager, Kat Guerrero, said there are approximately 100 billion stars in our galaxy. Now take that number and multiply it by 500. That's how many pieces of microplastics are in our ocean. Microplastics are now everywhere, including our weather systems, our blood, our hearts, and even babies are born with it. Not only that, but our food and water are also contaminated with microplastics. Plastic itself, in its entire life cycle, emits about 1.8 billion tons of carbon dioxide, according to OECD. The production of virgin plastic emits about 2.24 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide, which accounts for 5.3% of total greenhouse gas emissions.
When it reaches the hand of the customer, most plastic has very short usage lifespans. Plastic used for packaging typically has short lifespans. These items are often only used once and thrown away afterward. Plastic used for consumer items has varying lifespans depending on the product, such as single-use cutlery or disposable water bottles have short lifespan as is only used once. Durable consumer goods that use plastic, such as toys or electronics, can last longer but eventually have to be discarded or replaced. Industrial machinery and construction sectors that use plastic are usually built to last longer and be more durable to remain in use for long periods. Overall, the average lifespan of plastic products is approximately 10 years. There are over 500 billion plastic water bottles used per year, with the average person using 156 bottles per year.
60 million water bottles are thrown away each year in America, with only 12% being recycled. In total, there are about 358 trillion microplastic particles floating on the surface of the ocean, with 1.5 million more microscopic particles released into waterways, and eventually the oceans each year. Our clothes shed plastic too. Every time you wash your clothes, they shed microfibers into waterways each time. A fleece can shed around 2,000 microplastic fibers, which then affects plants and animals. Once a plant gets microplastic in its system, the entire food chain is exposed to microplastics.
To look at appliances like laundry settings effects on microplastics on the sheddings. So we look at what kind of settings that you could do at your home. Usually, we found if you set your laundry settings at gentle and cold, it can actually reduce 70%.
Water is the most precious resource on the planet, and we must conserve our water resource. With the increasing amount of microplastics in our waterway, we must reduce the production and use of plastic products. Drinking filtered water will reduce microplastic intake. Limiting seafood consumption will also reduce microplastic intake because nowadays aquatic life consumes microplastics or plastic products thinking it's food, which we would be consuming if we were eating seafood.
Organic or synthetic clothing would reduce the amount of microfibers that are washed out into the waterways. Using public transport will reduce the amount of plastics that tires emit, as tires are also made out of plastic. Avoiding bottled water, especially ones that are made out of plastic, because that's a good way to ingest plastic.
What I heard is in about 40 years there will be more plastic in our oceans than sea life under the ocean, and so that just makes me feel really sad, and I feel that us as humans, we have a real problem with greed and trying to make things easier for ourselves all the time, that we end up causing these problems for ourselves. And so I think it's really important as humans to constantly check ourselves and say, hey, you know what, do I need to be richer? Do I need to have more things? Do I need